good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and everybody on the West Coast. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and everybody else in between this great, big, beautiful country of ours. How the hell you doing? What do you know? What do you say? What's up? What's happening? How's it going? I have trouble today. The radio side, something happened, and I can't log in. So everybody on the radio side that's listening is getting dead silence. And there's no way I can stop it. Oh, Lord. If it isn't one thing, it's another. And it doesn't have anything to do with what I was doing yesterday. So it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm going to try again here in a second. Oh, my gosh. So, what's say? I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words now. Some crazy shit going on. I don't know. I'm recording it, so I might play it back later on the radio. I don't know. So, let's see what's going on here now. So, anyway, to keep everybody else entertained while I'm playing with this shit. Yeah, sorry something has gone wrong. It's not you, it's us. Give that another go. And if it still doesn't work, rest assured we are working to fix it. Want to talk to us about this error? Yeah, damn it. Oh, well. Da, da, da. Okay. I want to read you guys a story that I came across this morning. Oh, this is really crazy. Let me fix myself up again. Get all the junk out of my pockets again. Okay. There we go. Now I'm ready. Are you ready? Okay. Okay, I'm like 9 different ways at once this morning. I don't know what's going on. I had a lack of episode. Lack of episode. It's mangled news, folks. You got to get used to this shit. I had a lack of oxygen episode. I have an oxygen concentrator that goes through a hose. And at the end of that hose, I have a swivel so the hose don't get tangled up. And then I have a cannula, which attaches to that. Well, I was having some trouble breathing. So I decided I'm going to change the cannula. And I did it before bed last night and went to bed. I didn't have no problem until this morning. I got up and started walking around. I kept getting shorter and shorter of breath. And my oxygen kept going lower and lower, and I couldn't figure it out. So finally I get to the point where I'm like, and getting ready. Here's the problem, too. Never mind. I won't even go there. But anyway, the problem, too, is when I get that low, I start losing control. So if I haven't pissed like right away, if I don't grab a urinal real quick, I'm going to start pissing myself. So anyway, I decided I'm going to check the swivel that I put on last night. And the way to check it, you can either dunk it in water to see if air bubbles come out. Well, what I do, I figured out a way. I take a hair and I put it along the side that's stable. And I leave that hair there, and I twist the cannula. And then if that hair starts flopping around, you know it's leaking. Well, man, that hair was flying everywhere. That thing was leaking so bad. So I hurried up and changed it and took a whole bunch of deep breaths. And I'm back on the road again. And the problem was the one I had on before I changed it was giving me trouble because I had to keep adjusting the oxygen. So that could have been me. Might have not had anything to do with oxygen. So I'm all crusty in my lungs right now. I'm not doing too bad. I'm not doing too bad at all. 98, 95, see? 98, 95. So it's better than 89, 88, and then it was going to 87. And you see the lights start going down. No, no, no. Don't want to get that far. So, where was I at? Oh, so I ended up having to spend most of the morning with the post service. I made a package and printed out the label, and it says, do not tape over the barcode. So I didn't. But there was another code, another bar thing, brand spanking new thing across the top that I taped over, and I thought, well, you know, you still see it and everything else. So, and my sister took it down and mailed it. Going to Maytal Cohen, her award that I sent it out before, and I had the Crystal Award, and then on top of that, I had a framed award, and I had it all packed up with bubble wrap and insulation, all that other shit. Well, the problem is it might have been too tight, and if the box would have gotten stepped on or something like that, then the frame part certificate could have cracked. So I finally got a hold of her. Did you pick this thing up? Did you get it? Yes, but it was broken. She didn't say which was broken. I know it couldn't have been the crystal. The crystal was in its own box, and that box was fully padded. The only way that could have gotten broken is if somebody dropped it. But she didn't say that. So what I did is I replaced the certificate with the frame, you know, the glass and all that. And I made sure that it's not going to get, you know, I did a good job. I mailed it out. She mailed it yesterday. And it went out, went all the way to Pittsburgh, and turned around and came right back this morning. And I called the post office up because I'm getting text messages of everywhere that damn box goes. I want to make sure. Because there's a check in there, right? With money. And a certificate. And all that shit, right? I called the 800 number, and oh my God. The last thing you need to do is call the 800 number at the post office. You got to get the joy, you have to leave. I'm going crazy. So I'm looking, I figure I'm going to Google the local post office, right? It's an 800 number. It goes directly to the same damn place. And I screwed with that damn, it's called an auto attendant, where it asks you, and it's got the voice recognition. I didn't hear that. I didn't understand. Did you say help? Did you say agent? Did you say help? You say yes, yes, yes. And it just keeps going on. Well, geez, in order for an agent to help you, we need this number. Oh, give me a fucking break. God damn it. Excuse my language. This is not a kid show. So if you got crumb munchers, rod rats running around, you need to go put them for a nap or kick their ass outside if it's nice. In New England, they can go up and play in the snow. But no, I'm just kidding, you know. But listen, and if they're old enough, they should be in school, unless they're being homeschooled, or they're doing remote learning. And if they're doing remote learning, they should not be watching this. So either you put headphones on or have them put headphones on. Tell you the truth, if they're doing homeschool or remote learning in their high school, they've heard more than I can say. But it's your kids. So figure it out. Okay. So anyway, I tested the radio stations play. So I called the guy up. I'm like, what's wrong? Please, what's wrong? Fantastic guy. His name's Mark. I gotta give him credit, man. He checked everything out. He said, I can't figure out what's it's. And he called Pittsburgh and it said the label was all. No, he said there's nothing wrong with this label. He said we even checked it out here, scanned it, and everything's fine. He said I'm gonna send it. I said, look, I got another label We can put it on there. No, that's okay. He says, we'll send it out to Pittsburgh again today. If it comes back, then we'll worry about the label. He said, if it gets past Pittsburgh, I don't know what the deal is with Pittsburgh, but he says, if it gets past Pittsburgh, you know it's going to California. And then I says, what if it gets all the way to California and comes back? Silence on the other end. He didn't know. So, God. It's okay. Where's these hearings at? Did the hearings start yet? I don't know. Let's try this one more time, folks. I can't let the radio people just sit there like dead air. Sign in. Nothing happening. Sign in. Nothing happening. Oh, jeez. I bet you if I click start your 7-day free trial, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Sign in. Okay, no, it's not working. I'm not going to. Sorry, folks. Oh, boy. Everybody's going to think I'm. Here, I'll show you what the listeners are hearing. All right, real quick. Let me see. Let's get out of here. Go to this. Go up here. Go to what? What am I doing here? No. Now this is all screwed up. Here, www.monvalleyradio.com. Go. And we're on. It's still and here you go. I'll push play. Oh, there it is. Absolutely nothing happening. Mon Valley Radio, you're screwed. You're screwed. I'm going to show you something else about this. This is really cool. So, here, see that? You can picture city in the area code, or the time zone that you're at. So let's push Dallas. See what happens. Okay, so see, it comes up. You got to accept the cookies. Accept the cookies. Okay, there it is. Ta-da! Dallas. And it has all kind of nice pictures of Dallas. Let me show you. Here, this is who I'm sending the award to. Maydel Cohen. She's fantastic. Got to check her out on YouTube. Meytal Cohen. Cohen. See? Mon Valley Radio, Dallas. Look at all these cool pictures, huh? More. Okay? Six City. Here's a problem. I'm stuck in a loop here. I want to add a city in Mountain Time. I got 2 on the East Coast, 2 on the West Coast, and 2 in Central Time. But I don't have anybody in Mountain Standard Time, because here's the thing about Mountain Standard Time. Oh, look at this. It says log in. Mountain Standard Time has, it can go Mountain Standard Time or Central Standard, depending on where you're at. Who chooses to do what? I don't know why. But I got a choice between Denver, Colorado, maybe, and Phoenix, Arizona. So I don't know which one. Now here's what I was thinking too. I have 2 on the West Coast, Los Angeles and San Francisco. Now I can leave those alone. Or I can take San Francisco and move it to either Arizona. You know what? I could even make 2 more. I can even set up 2 more cities maybe. But that's a lot of work. I need a lot of help. You know, I don't know. So anyway, it says, hey, it says log in. Let's see what it does. Oh boy. I know you guys are getting all bored with this shit. Going to turn me off? Oh boy. Okay. Watch it say, can't do it. This I will fall over. Nope. Sorry, something went wrong. Piss off, man. Okay, let's forget all this shit and get right to the stuff. I didn't even move this shit yet. Okay. I want to read this to you guys because it's really something. No, I don't want that. There. All right. Portrait of a. This was This was written by Greg O'Lear, February 1st, 2022. It's called Prevail by Greg O'Lear. Portrait of American Strongman. This is the real Donald Trump. Okay. The father was loaded, parlaying a little bit of capital and a long association with the Genovese crime family into a Queens real estate empire. The son was a difficult child. He got bad grades and was often in trouble at school. Once he punched a teacher in the mouth. Unable to control him, his parents shipped him off to military school. The experience seemed only to hone his bullying skills. It was a serial killer's childhood. Nevertheless, he was his father's favorite. If he got into trouble, he could always rely on his old man to bail him out. During Vietnam, his dad arranged for a podiatrist, a tenant in one of his properties, to concoct a medical cause, bone spurs, so he could avoid military service. He did poorly in his SATs, but still managed to get into the University of Pennsylvania. Admission was easier back then, especially if you had money. His academic career was so lackluster that he would not allow anyone to see his grades. 50 years after the fact. After graduating, he went into a family real estate business, but he wasn't satisfied with Queens. He wanted to make it in Manhattan. He wanted real fame, real fortune. This required working with the Gambino crime family, which controlled New York's premier borough. As always, his old man helped him make it happen for him. The KGB began cultivating him in the early 1980s. He was an easy mark, vain, stupid, amoral, sex-crazed, and desperate for cash. But by the middle of that decade, he was using condos in the tower that bore his family's name to launder money for Russian organized crime figures. He liked doing business with the crooks. They paid in cash, and if things went sideways, they would never sue. He married a beauty from the Eastern Bloc, a smart, ebullient immigrant whose parents were hardline communists, allegedly in league with Czechoslovakian intelligence. They had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. When he got bored and when her success began to overshadow his, he divorced her to marry his side piece, an actress. They had a daughter together. When he got bored, he left his second wife and eventually married his third. Like the first, an Eastern European stunner with hardliner parents. They had a son. During the entire length of these 3 marriages, he had numerous affairs. He cavorted with models and beauty queens. He bought the Miss Universe franchise and used it as a vehicle to sexually harass and assault contestants. When his daughter was a teenager, he had her sign with a modeling agency whose owner was notorious for sexual assault. He seemed to have a thing for the daughter and once remarked that if they were not related, they would be dating. He palled around with a New York financier who was always surrounded by very young women, girls, as it turned out. The financier would be convicted of procuring a child for prostitution and, much later, for much more. He raped and sexually assaulted dozens of women. He raped a well-known journalist in the dressing room of a department store. His business ventures always failed. Many of his companies went bankrupt. He opened a casino. It went bust. He inherited hundreds of millions of dollars from his father, and he squandered it. He lied to magazines about his fortune. He called reporters posing as a PR guy for himself. Now that's sick. Yeah, I should do that, huh? He almost single-handedly ruined a rival pro football league. He announced gifts to charities and then didn't give over the money. Banks refused to do business with him because he routinely did not make good on his commitments. He stiffed contractors, which is a very bad, that's a thing in my craw right there. Okay, he hired illegal immigrants to work for him and paid them slave wages. His only profitable enterprise was laundering money for his Russian clients. The building that bears his name became a hub of Russian organized crime activity in the United States. Then came the TV show. It was the brainchild of a reality show producer whose initial idea was to make a program featuring Vladimir Putin. He was portrayed as a rich, successful, self-made businessman. None of those things were true, but viewers believed the myth, the legend. He was good at acting the part. He enjoyed uttering the catchphrase, "You're fired." The executive at the TV station who had green-lighted the show moved from that network to the top cable news network in the United States, overseeing the entire news operation. Despite having never held elected office, his only real political experience consisted of calling for the execution of the Central Park Five and disseminating the lie that the country's first black president was born in Kenya. He decided to run for president. Are you getting any of this? Media outlets, especially the cable news network run by the friend who had greenlighted his TV show, covered him as if he were actually the character on the show, as if none of the horrible things he had done in the past ever happened. The correspondent covering his campaign for the country's paper of record was more concerned with maintaining access to investigating the truth of his checkered past, a truth that could be found in the archives of her own company. He began his campaign with racist statements. He appropriated a slogan from the 1930s when the American Nazi Party was popular in New York. He was overtly sexist, overtly racist, overtly in league with the leader of our nation's longtime adversary, but the malcontous Republican field could not stop him. None of them had been a character on a reality TV show after all. He won the primary easily. He railed against his Democratic political opponent. He knew people didn't trust her. He tried to tap into that lack of trust. He said she should be locked up. He accused her of unspecific crimes. He kept invoking her emails. In one of the debates, she said that all 17 U.S. intelligence agencies agreed that Russia had hacked the DNC emails. She called him Putin's puppet. He seethed and stalked her on the stage. He looked more like Jack the Ripper than a serious political candidate. Do you guys remember that? Him walking around following her while she was during the debate? He lost the election by 2.8 million votes. But an uncanny series of events combined with the ham-handed electoral college method of selecting presidents thwarted her victory. Because of Russia, because of the FBI director, because of Facebook micro-targeting, because of the racism and sexism that permeates American politics, he won. He appointed unqualified cronies and family members to key positions. His daughter and his son-in-law were his closest advisors. The Secretary of State was a retired oil executive who gutted the department. The Secretary of Education wanted to destroy the Department of Education. The Attorney General was a racist. The National Security Advisor was a traitor, and so on. He spent approximately one-third of his 1,461 days in office visiting one of his properties. Did you one-third of those days, including a whopping 298 days on a golf course he owned. Taxpayers paid the tab on every single one of those visits. Hotels, rooms for him, his family, Secret Service, and all the members of his entourage. Estimates vary for the final tab, but it's something like $100 million over 4 years, a significant portion of which went right into his pocket because he owned the properties where all those people stayed and dined. Being president was a profitable racket. He obstructed justice many times in obvious ways. He fired the FBI director because he didn't want his ties to Russia investigated. He sent goons to the offices of his doctor, and they made off with his medical records. He paid a porn star hush money. He extorted the president of an ally, threatening to withhold arms unless that president investigated his political rival. He hosted Russians in the Oval Office on the national stage. He capitulated to Putin. He tried to intimidate the Georgia Secretary of State into fudging the election results. He was twice impeached. His accomplices and apologists led him off both times. In the early days of the pandemic, he insisted coronavirus would disappear. He blamed China. He blamed Democratic governors in blue states. He and his son-in-law intentionally sabotaged the pandemic response because they thought it would help him win re-election if the people in blue states died. He railed against masks. He railed against vaccines. He politicized the pandemic. This all resulted in hundreds of thousands of American deaths, more than died in the Civil War. When he got COVID, he tried to pretend that it was no big deal, even as his blood oxygen levels dipped into dangerous levels. He was given special medical treatment unavailable to most people. Many millions of dollars of PPP loans went unaccounted for, likely absorbed by his cronies. Months before the election day, he claimed the election would be stolen. He believed mail-in votes would hurt him, so he installed a Luminox at the Postal Service who set about destroying sorting machines. He spent months conniving ways to stay in power despite what he knew would be a humiliating defeat at the ballot box. He lost by 7 million votes. He refused to concede. He said the votes were rigged. He said the election was stolen. He tried everything he could to think of a game system. To game the system, on January 6th, the day of the votes from state electors were being certified, he encouraged the crowd in Washington to go to the Capitol. He attempted a coup to stay in power. He was willing to let his loyal vice president die. He tried to overthrow the government. He's still trying to do that. Before he left office, he pardoned his many criminal accomplices, including 3 former campaign advisors and the traitor National Security Advisor. Those 4 men rallied the troops on January 6th. They remain at large, unbothered by the DOJ, despite openly calling for sedition. This week at a rally, he promised once again to rise against the rightfully elected government. He dangled pardons for anyone convicted of crimes pertaining to January 6th or future coup attempts. He threatened to unleash the full force of his MAGA army if he were indicted. For this monster, this bully and brat, this racist and rapist, this mob money launderer and tax cheat, this thrice-married philanderer, this sadistic strongman who allowed a plague to take hold because he thought all that death would help him, this sore loser who attacked our democracy and did everything in his power to overturn the election, this dismal, disgraceful, deplorable failure of a human being, a quarter of the country and maybe more are willing to do almost anything, including kill and be killed. This is Donald Trump. This is Prevail. These are not my words. These are Prevail by Greg O'Lear. So if you have a problem with him, or you have a problem with this article, go see them. I just read it. I agree with it. But I just read it. That's all I am. A reader. Portrait of an American Strongman. This is the real Donald Trump. Amazing. It's amazing. Oh, my time is up. I overran my time again. Hey, man, you guys have a good day. I read the whole thing, and have a good day. I'm going to try to have a good day. Now I get this shit back on. Let's see what the radio's doing, huh? Yeah, no, I can't do that. Let's get out of here. Let's say goodbye. I say goodbye to these people. There's no use to say goodbye to these. Okay, I have to say goodbye to the recording. So goodbye, recording. Goodbye, people. Goodbye. You have a good day. And be careful. Don't get that Rona, okay? So let's go do this.